What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing, I guess, some interesting developments that have come out from our two-way contract situation, as well as discussing some things I may have forgotten about the Zach LaVine situation that has happened a couple of days ago. Now, again, it's very interesting to see the developments out of these things, and some things I don't really know why we're trying to do, but whatever the case may be, we're going to quickly take a deeper dive into this in this video. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know about in the comments below about the Chicago Bulls and the recent developments behind our two-way contract situation and the Zach LaVine situation. So, without further ado, let's get started. Ultimately, starting with the two-way contract spots, it looks like the Chicago Bulls have waived Justin Lewis as a two-way contract player and has signed Henri Drell to a two-way contract spot. Now, to kind of sum this up, essentially what that means is the two-way contract spots are guys that usually play in the G League but has, I guess, restricted or certain limitations towards playing for the Chicago Bulls main team, but they do get opportunities on the main team if the coach allows it. And of course, you know, depending on whether or not, in most cases, the Bulls, I guess, you know, G League team ends up having games and stuff like that. So it all depends on that. But essentially, what we have to do, I guess, is to wish Justin Lewis all the best. I don't necessarily know why he got waived. I don't really know why we signed Henri Drell, but that seems to be the way that we're going. If the Bulls see something in Henri Drell, all I could do is hope they get the best out of that, because he's a 6'9" forward. He showed some good glimpses in the summer league. He was pretty solid, and he's a guy that I think if you can get the best out of, could be a very valuable piece. A 6'9" forward that can shoot the ball. That doesn't seem like a terrible thing whatsoever. But can that really translate not only into the G League, but into the NBA level? That is something we simply do not know at this point in time. And for Justin Lewis, it's very unfortunate what has happened to Justin Lewis. Again, he was a guy that a lot of people rated more than Dalen Terry. And he's a guy in the Summer League, I guess for the first season before he got injured, did a little bit of everything. Was a good scorer, good facilitator, good defender, good rebounder. Just did a little bit of everything for that Chicago Bulls Summer League team. But after that injury, it didn't really look like, I guess, he was fully ready to play again. And at the end of the day, it just kind of seems like maybe the Bulls have given up on him, or maybe this is just another way to, I guess, see if Henri Drell can get an opportunity. Maybe we sign Justin Lewis later on in terms of the two-way contract spot. I really don't know. But until we get more further details on that, whether or not we will ever sign Justin Lewis to another two-way contract, I just want to wish him the best. I hope he finds his footing in the NBA. I hope he finds his footing in the G League, wherever he may go. Hopefully he can have a long-lasting and sustainable career. But I do like Henri Drell as well. I have to say that I like Justin Lewis as well. I think both of those guys have some potential in their game so that they can move over to the NBA level. It's about getting it out of them. And the Bulls are not necessarily known as the best development, I guess, team. But all of a sudden, you're seeing, for the main team at least, Kobe White developing into an all-star. Patrick Williams doing some very good things in terms of a two-way player. Ayo Dosunmu having great games, and, you know, seems like it's not so bad now, does it? But again, it's crazy how short-term things can really change our mind and perception on things. I still don't see the Bulls as a massive development team, but it's up to them to prove us wrong, and they have to do it for a long, sustaining period. But let's move over into the Zach LaVine situation. So, apparently, this is something I forgot about. I did see it, but I didn't report about it. I didn't talk about it. But apparently, about 2 days ago, there was a report that came out suggesting that the Chicago Bulls tried to get a Zach LaVine for Darius Garland trade. Now, I'm not necessarily sure who declined that trade. If I had to take a guess, it would be the Cleveland Cavaliers, because it's a weird trade, very weird trade for Cleveland to accept. But let me try and I guess dive into what I really think about the situation. So, Cleveland's not one of those teams that I necessarily thought would be in for Zach LaVine unless they were willing to trade Donovan Mitchell. I think the only trade I've ever seen from the Chicago Bulls and Cleveland Cavaliers side of things in relation to Zach LaVine is the Donovan Mitchell, Zach LaVine straight swap. The reasoning behind this is because Donovan Mitchell, I think, has made it public, or at least that's the speculation, that he does not want to re-sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Zach LaVine has made it public, even though he hasn't said it, that he wants to leave the Chicago Bulls. So that may have made sense. Cleveland would still be a somewhat competitive team. the Bulls will probably still be a somewhat okay team, and we move on. You know, shooting guard for shooting guard. I think Donovan Mitchell's the better player. So we do win that trade in my eyes, but at the same time, Zach LaVine is still a very talented player that might be able to get a little bit more out of his career at Cleveland. And again, they could end up winning that trade as well. It could be a win-win situation for both teams. But apparently we're trying to go for Darius Garland. Now, I think it's very obvious why that would not work for Cleveland. Again, you know, you're trading your only real point guard. Well, I wouldn't say only real point guard, but you're trading your best point guard in Darius Garland for Zach LaVine. So you're going to start 2 shooting guards in the team. Look, Zach LaVine has played point guard for the Bulls in the past. He's listed as a point guard and a shooting guard for the Chicago Bulls on Basketball Reference. So that kind of shows what the Bulls kind of view him as. But still, Zach LaVine is not going to be a true point guard for that team, and neither is Donovan Mitchell. Look at the Phoenix Suns situation right now. Phoenix have been struggling. They haven't had their full team healthy, but they don't necessarily have a true point guard either. I think Devin Booker's doing an okay job at it for the most part when he plays it, but whatever the case may be, I think not having a true point guard hurts that team. I think it's going to hurt Cleveland if they decided to do a trade for Zach LaVine and Darius Garland. That makes no sense. I think for the Bulls, it does make a little bit more sense because you're getting a point guard, a ball handler. You're getting someone that can score and facilitate. And Kobe White is the type of guy that seems to really find his way into mixing and matching roles and finding a way to contribute to a team, even if he's not the go-to option. I don't necessarily think the Bulls fans would like that deal either, in all fairness. But again, it makes more sense for the Bulls than it does for Cleveland. But what I think could have happened is if we got Darius Garland, they got Zach LaVine, then they trade Donovan Mitchell for a different point guard. That's the only way I can see Cleveland making a deal like that work. So I do believe Cleveland was the one that rejected it, but I don't know for sure. In terms of the Zach LaVine situation and what I think about, Zach LaVine being already straight away, the Bulls are trying to deal with Zach LaVine, this is expected. This is expected. Shams doesn't come out and report the Bulls are open to trade for Zach LaVine and Zach LaVine is open to trade from the Chicago Bulls and then expected to be quiet as soon as December 15th hits. I mean, come on, let's be honest here. If anybody expected this to be a quiet situation where Zach LaVine gets dealt quietly and it's announced on the day, I think there was another thing coming. Zach LaVine is the biggest trade package, the biggest trade talk of the entire NBA. There will be reports of the Bulls are trying to do this, the Bulls are trying to do that. There are other teams monitoring the situation. We're not going to get just the Lakers reports. There's going to be many, many more, and Cleveland seems to be one of them that's added to the pile. I don't know the validity, what a weird word that is, of those reports, but if it's true, I don't know why it makes sense. I don't know why they're even trying to do this. I don't think it makes sense for either team, really. But we'll see what happens. I think Darius Garland makes more sense for the Bulls than Zach LaVine does for Cleveland. That's what I think. And that's why I think Cleveland rejected the deal. So there you go. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And yeah, that's about it for this video. I will do a Bulls weekly video tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a like and a follow and or subscribe if you are new. And I will see you in the next Chicago Bulls related video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.